Welcome, Mariner Nation, to Mr. Rutterham's virtual classroom. This is our third week of distance or home learning. You guys are at home. I'm at home. I wish we were together. I miss seeing you in person. I miss the routine of our daily lives. I miss having parts of my life that are separate. So I hope you guys are all well. It's our second week of our virtual time capsule, and remember, our primary goal is to record as primary observers historical events and culture changing in front of us very rapidly, not like in the past when culture changes quite slowly. And so this week we're going to look specifically at how cultures pass information. If we remember that a culture really refers to people who share a common way of living. And so in order for people to share things, they have to pass on to the next generation and to reinforce the things that make a culture, which is how we communicate, the beliefs, the skills, the systems, the organization. And so for a culture to do that, there are groups of people and individuals who share this burden, this goal of passing on our culture. So first we have to ask, what do we pass on? So we pass on skills for survival in our culture. We pass on skills for living the way that we live with the type of technology and the expectations that we have. We also pass on ideas and knowledge, things that everybody understands, things that people agree upon. These are the beliefs and the ideas. We also pass on culture of things that we think are right and wrong, so values, so that things that keep us from harming others or keeping organization in the way that we need them. And so in order to do this, we rely on all sorts of different groups. And so some of the groups start at home when you're born, and so your parents help pass on skills and attitudes and beliefs from a culture. And then those things pass on as you go into different parts of your life, into education and into your expectations when you're in pop culture places like malls and supermarkets, and just the expected behavior. And then those also get shared in a broader sense with your peers who pass on cultural expectations that might be the mainstream culture, and then responses to the mainstream culture. And so your culture then gets passed on as you become a part of groups and teams and interest organizations, whether it's employment or hobbies. And so sometimes you have different groups of cultural reinforcement that other people aren't a part of. And then there's a group of people that participate in cultural exploration and cultural sharing that we buy into, and that's the mass media. It could be literature, it could be paintings, it could be magazines, it could be television shows, it could be movies, it could be the internet. And so because we have all these different groups of people who, as individuals or as groups, help pass on culture, sometimes there's a bit of a mix and match of elements that people are a part of and people aren't a part of. So some people might all have some cultural experiences that are the same, and some people might have some cultural experiences that are different because they might not play on a certain type of team. They might not be a part of a group. And some of these cultures, messages that are sent through different groups, kind of have a different twist to them. Cultural training starts at home because your life starts at home. And so during those beginning years of your life, you learn skills for survival, how to get what you want, how to get what you need, skills for communication, how to deal with other people, how to interact with others. And then you learn basic skills like life skills. And so your family trains you in the first part of your life to interact later with other groups of people within your society. The government and the institutions created by the government are designed not only to organize our lives and provide services, but also to help us reinforce the values and the skills necessary in order to survive in our world. So here you'll see a cultural center that people don't often think about, but laws are created to match the values of our society. The values of our society match the laws. And so in this place, it's sort of the beginning of how we expect to treat people. It's the beginning of how we expect to reinforce the organizational systems of our lives. If you look over this way a little further, you'll see our town has a fire department right here. And so not only do those people help educate people who work for the fire department, but they also spend time helping educate children about fire safety. Safety is a first requirement for things that agents of socialization, people that teach how to survive in our society, agents of socialization, teach how to maintain safety in our world and what to do when we have conditions that are not safe. I've only walked about 30 meters from the St. George Town Hall and the St. George Fire Department, and I met another agent of socialization, a place that historical memories are preserved and spread throughout our society to help us remember. I'm at the St. George Canadian Legion to remember soldiers and people who served and gave their lives often to help make our world safer and better. And so I'm at a memorial here which represents all the people who've served during the 3 wars. So we have World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. And these commemorate and help us remember people in the local area who've sacrificed during that time to help keep others and ourselves safe. And I'm also here next to the cannons that were originally at the top of the hill. These were the actual cannons that helped protect St. George when it was being settled, when it was being founded from any outside invaders. And so these are rather old things, and this was put in place to help us remember the sacrifices that it takes in a society to keep people safe. Just next to the Canadian Legion, I'm standing next to the Anglican Church, and just to the right of me is a Baptist church. And behind me is another church institution called the Beacon. And just down the street, we have a Catholic church in one direction, a Presbyterian church in the other. These churches are also cultural institutions that help us spread our values and our things that we think are right or wrong, how we treat people, how we interact with other people. These are very important places in our society, especially in the past, for preserving our beliefs and helping us spread our beliefs and helping us reinforce the values that families teach. This is our last stop. This is a school. This is one of the places in a society or in a civilization that people spread the most cultural norms. This is where cultural norms from the family, the government, different special interest groups all meet. We have teams that are organized through these places. We have services to help keep people safe that are organized through these places. This is a place in a community where all the different parts of the community have some sort of a crossing point. The major institution for creating societal change often happens in schools, whether it be the way we expect people to be treated, how we organize ourselves. Skills for society are taught here, and those change all the time based on our society and our culture changing. The mass media has one of the largest impacts of spreading culture, changing culture, and documenting culture of all the agents of socialization. It doesn't necessarily do this for the same reasons that parents do it or schools do it, but it does do it nonetheless, and sometimes we wonder whether or not it changes culture more than it reflects it or records it. And so in our case, the mass media is going to include anything in print, electronic media, audio media, or visual media that it is consumable for groups of people of the masses. And so some pieces of mass media might be literature that just documents shared experiences. Other forms of shared experiences, historical context that are shared experiences. Values that are taught. It's a kid's book that it's a kid's story that relates to different values and things that are right and wrong in society, as opposed to religious. They deal with these values in a sense of a folk story, and so it's often up to the reader to decide how they respond to these values. There's shared values, and then just sheer entertainment and shared values and societal expectations that come through movies. Sometimes the mass media handles skills that they want people to consume. Sometimes the mass media includes trends and things that are happening and changing in life. A lot of this is product-based or sometimes trend-based. Other mass media stuff that directly deals with teaching values in our society. And then there's subgroups, like this one's a subgroup of people who want to maintain an understanding of traditional culture through the building and the maintenance of boats that are based in, our maritime cultures. There's even games that become a part of cultural experience. This game has actually turned into a movie at one point in time. It's been released several times. It's become a cultural game. It teaches a skill, teaches values, and it teaches sort of inferencing. Mass media also includes popular culture. In this case, like YouTube or Netflix, it spread culture really quickly, and we all share. And so that takes us to our weekly assignment for this week is to document and observe the changes that are happening around us that relate to our agents of socialization. How is this time period, this historical context, this COVID-19 pandemic, changing the way that we are spreading our culture? We're educating our people differently now. And I think we all agree. I'm shooting a video about education. I'm a major of the education, I'm a part of the educational institution in our country, in our province. But I'm at home, and I've been at several different places. My kids are popping in from the outside. It's dinner time. I've got, I'm shooting this with objects in my house. And so your goal now is to observe and document how education is changing in our society due to this. Do we think it's going to last forever? Do we think it will have an impact that lasts? Do we think that it will quickly push us in another direction and we decide that we don't want to educate ourselves this way? How is this going to affect us in the long run? How is our culture changing in the way we educate our people because of this pandemic? Peace out. Looking forward to the stuff I get from you. Hope you guys are well. Take care.